this tidal wave is happening and people are waking up, and you are the leaders that are getting these people to get over their resistance, get over their fear, realize that if something is driving them, it's because they are the new leaders, that they have been appointed and they don't even realize it themselves. So I'm hoping that the package that we've got together will, lead them through the parting of the Red Sea from Egypt to really this new wave that you guys are taking us on. So thank you so much. You're right. We are a church. We're a 508c1a. That's a whole conversation by itself. Please look it up, completely off grid. And we started this church because we realized that the government will be on his shoulders, and we are the body. We are his shoulders. And he has given us heavenly strategies that we have been blessed to walk out these past 6 months. And lots of people come to us and go, oh, well, I'm not religious. And we say, well, neither are we. So they're quite shocked to hear that a church can't be religious. But we really believe in being his hands and feet. And the most important thing for us was freeing the children. So the package will help everyone. It really is superb in the sense that you only need one person to cover an entire school district of children. So in Ventura County, where we've blanketed Ventura County, we've actually got 22 districts, and we've had about 30 people serve the district. That's all, and that's covered 140,000 children. So it's really easy. We'll walk through it, but
and you've had specific results. This isn't a theory anymore, right? Like things are happening, and we're going to talk about those things that are happening. And so we're going to have a conversation here for the next 15 or 20 minutes, and then Mandy's going to actually go through her presentation. And then there's 2 freebies that you have access to as part of the event. And those are also on Mandy's site. Well, one of them's on Mandy's site. So we'll get you all connected with all that stuff as we get into that. But Mandy, I want to just point, I know we want to get into the meat of it, how to do it, and you're just going to explain it, but let's go back to that burning bush moment. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, why am I doing this? Well, I mean, Josh, you used to call me an activist, and I used to say my corporate American brain was just could not function with that. I used to say I'm an actionista. So I like to rebrand that, but I've always been an activist, and we managed, you and I met through the anti-radiation fight, and we actually ran he is now a city councilman, the only conservative we know that actually got into office here, besides one more on the anti-radiation 5G free platform. And after that, I was still just doing my organizing. And one day I had been saying in my head, I'm so tired of organizing people that are asleep. I really want more. Give me more. It's all about the law, really. There's so much that's on our side. And I was driving my middle son to football, dropped him off, and I was driving home, and there was this American flag on a house, and it was blowing like crazy. But I couldn't. It was so unnatural because the flag looked like it was going to rip off the house, but there wasn't a breath of wind. And I had to actually pull my car over because I literally started looking at the trees around me to say not a leaf was blowing, but this tree was going, either this flag was going wild. And then all of a sudden in the wind, it blew over itself so that I could only see the bottom 4 stripes. And I audibly heard, now I see a lot, but I don't normally hear.
You're a mystic. Would you describe yourself as a mystic, or not with that word?
Yeah, it's like when you called me an activist.
Okay.
Oh, please.
No labels. No labels.
Yeah,
nobody puts Mandy in a box.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so we all hear from God differently. Let's put it that way.
That's right.
So I audibly heard, and I don't want to mess this up because I couldn't even say it correctly, but Liberty's institution is founded in sovereignty and parental rights, which have been usurped by the mandates, Satan's snare. use the Fourth Amendment. Okay.
Wow.
Fourth Amendment's privacy related, right?
Privacy. And property. We'll go into the property issue.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I know the Fourth Amendment's got to do with soldiers coming into houses. I'll go home. Started researching. It wasn't 1 hour later, a pastor from Louisiana calls me and tells me about a federal lawsuit that he has just put in by himself, spent the $40, did everything himself. And I won't go into the details, but basically I said to him, has this got anything to do with the Fourth Amendment? And he said, how do you know? My entire case is based on the Fourth Amendment. And his was also to protect the children, but his is based on CRT and the teen talk that's coming out, sex ed. And after that, it was just like literally the computer was throwing information at me. That's how it went.
Wow.
So the genius, I didn't even realize the genius of all of this until coming to where I am now and looking back, because the good lawyers are tripping over themselves, because we are fighting parental rights, not only on civil rights, but we're fighting it on criminal. We're saying this is child abuse. This is a misdemeanor and a felony. And we have the legal codes that we can go into the details about. But basically, your child is your property right. And this property is being damaged.
Yeah,
and this is child abuse. And we know in the Bible how many times the Lord says that it's better for you to die than to lead a child astray. And he literally has given us the most beautiful strategy where we are setting up. It's the precursor to lawsuits. And I'm all about sovereignty, as I know you guys are. But there's one thing to sovereignty. When you're a sovereign and you step out of the court system, which we know is completely flawed, you're not going to make any effect if you don't go into the courts and fight them and keep them to their word. And that's, the crux of it.
You have to use their system against them, it could be say, but maybe that's a little bit, contrarian. But yeah, we have to integrate with the structure as it's been set up. Like the time for bubble reality and, bypassing and playing pretend is over. But I love that you're using notices. You're a little bit more on the legal side, and we have two others more on the lawful side, but there's so much commonality. I mean, two others, part of the event, Robert Michael and Greg Paul doing Law for Mankind. Just three amazing strategies. These are the three that I'm most excited about. There's so many that leaders in this area of law and legal, and whether it's, common law or admiralty jurisdiction or commercial or whatever, but you're combining elements in a very powerful way. So
and Josh, we also have RFK Jr. who's speaking, who is doing really powerful legal work too, and he has shown great effect in the actual legal system on the environmental causes. So I know in our scene a lot, in the lawful scene, people poo-poo the idea of even going into courts anymore. Yeah. And they say, one, there's a lot of pitfalls to it with the language, and there's a trap, and you're going right into basically their admiral, the admiral law jurisdiction. But you're showing, Mandy, that that's not truly the case. There's a way to do it. There are strategies, and you're winning. So I would love to get into it, because I personally am quite intrigued by this.
Yeah, I mean, I try and explain to people, I'm 100% in on the common law. But the problem with the common law is when you're trying to entice a judge and a lawyer, litigator, defendant, whatever they are, you can't go into a courtroom speaking Mandarin. They just won't hear you. And so this is how we're going. And the beauty of this is that this is for everyone. This isn't for the people who can spend $100,000 with a lawsuit. We're literally setting up the due process of law beforehand, so that if it ever does get to a lawsuit, we've got all the evidence together that they will be too scared to go to a court and will probably mediate and settle out of court. So financially,
Sorry, that's a powerful commonality here. That you're doing it in the private, you're laying the foundation, and then if, like you said, if it ever has to go to court, then it's you're holding the cards, right? So let's get into them.
Can I clarify one thing real quick for the audience watching? They're like, what are you trying to remedy?
Yes.
Well, this would be for children's rights to be able to get an education without being muzzled or injected or any kind of there's so many trespasses against children these days. We know in certain states they're really getting very radical with the sex education and a lot of things. And parents, they want to give their kids the best education, and we're going to be doing unschooling and homeschooling here too. Yeah. But still, we need to take back our schools. So I believe that's where the remedy lies that you're trying to achieve here, right? Is taking back the schools and really allowing for a safe haven for kids that do need to go to these schools. Let's say they're coming from a family. One thing, when my wife was a nurse at the school district here, and I said, why isn't everyone just homeschool? Well, some kids don't have that luxury. They're coming from broken families. And school, they actually can't wait to get to school because it's the one place they can go where they're actually safe. So I just wanted to really put that out here so people that are new to this understand, like, what are they talking about? So
you're right. Let's bring it, because when that whole line about usurping parental rights, that is it. And sovereign, you are sovereign, but as a parent, you have the parental rights, and this is all we're doing through this process. We are putting the parental rights back to the parent. That's all we're doing. But one more thing that Josh touched on that I really wanted to add when you're saying the beauty and the commonality, the problem with the lawyers, litigators, attorneys that have written the bar exam is that they are pinholed into the system. So we have the backing of like 4 different litigators who want to help us, as some of whom are vaccinated, by the way, because they realize this is a freedom issue. But they can't do anything because they unfortunately are a civil law attorney or an environmental attorney. Whereas we, the people, we didn't sign anything. We are not serving the British Crown. We can do what we want. So we come. Here's the other thing. That's why I say the genius of this, we kind of are starting to realize at the end of this process. But that all the criminal lawyers are employed by the government. So how will they fight the mandate? They can't. So parents, it's up to you. We're giving you the tools. You become that criminal lawyer. A very good friend of mine who's in the law, she said she did a search on criminal lawyers that she could work with. And our watchman, our church, was the only one that came up because everyone else is employed by the government.
There's a reason why they're called criminal lawyers.
There you go.
That says it all. Yeah, and we definitely don't charge. So there we go.
Do you want to get into your presentation now, Mandy, or is there anything else you wanted to say to sort of talk about maybe some of the results that you're having now and where you're going? What's your vision? I still want to hear more about the vision piece, if we could, for maybe just a few minutes before we dive in.
Yeah, I mean, the vision is kind of jumping off what Mike said, is to wake people up. I always say before the Renaissance was the Dark Ages, and I really feel like we've been in the Dark Ages and we're coming through it, and these are the tools. Often we just say, welcome to the tribe. People are going, I never fitted in, I never quite found anything, and I can't believe I'm automatically knit into this family. And that's how I feel about you guys. And I think distance doesn't make a difference. There's this commonality, and this is what we're trying to say, is you actually, what did you say to me, Josh, before this interview? There are more of us than there are of them, but we are not verbal. And you guys need to be verbal, and you need to be leaders. If you're drawn to this, there's a reason why you're drawn to this. If there's something in you right now going, oh my gosh, I can do this. Look at this homeschooling mom of 3. What has she done? Protected 140,000 kids. Maybe I can do the same. And I promise you, you can do more. You can do 600,000 kids, because we've done the grunt work, and we're ready to, we can, you know what, Josh, if you want to just dive in, I can talk through it and then bring in the successes through the different steps. Is that easier?
Yeah. Okay, good. Let's do that. So I'm going to go share screen here, and let's see. And I just want to quickly show your website here. So it's watchman33.org. You can donate, and there's a PayPal button there. And if you go to freebies, you have a link to us, and then there's another download button there. So you can either download Mandy's documents from the event.global or from her site here. So watchman33.org. So let's go over here. So this is, I love this title, and I love how like unpretentious all of this is. It's like when you stand for truth, you can have a good time too, and like, you know, be unpretentious. So,
that's what people say. We're religious. We're like, no, we're not religious, and we are practically pissed off. So Watchman 33, that's from Ezekiel 33. That's why, so you guys can look that up. But yeah, definitely, this is going to be the practical law for you guys to put into action with your kids as soon as possible. So what is the overall arching effect here? There's two effects. The non-consent that Josh just showed you and that Mike will make available to you is a freebie that you'll be able to download. And that is just for you and your children. That package is basically saying, we know that the pharmaceuticals aren't liable, so you will be liable for anything that you put into my child or over my child. And it actually goes as far as asking for their insurance details. And I just want to say, I've had multiple lawyers look over my work, and one who I really consider my mentor told me that that everything I've written is like a real rookie because I just go for the jugular. But I feel like this is the second apartheid that I've been blessed to live through, and I'm going to be on the right side. And if I have to go for the jugular, I'm going for the jugular. So
what does that quote? Be bold, and the universe will send mighty forces to your aid. Right. So sometimes it's the maybe the naive or the less educated, they just go for it because we see the simple and we're not indoctrinated by the fear. So yes. One of the things I love about you, Mandy, is, and there's so many in our tribe there, we're just done with the fear, you know. Yeah. We're processing it. We're going through these intense times and we're moving through it. So yeah, thank you. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to.
No, but we've got leaders like, you know, it needs to be said that you don't need to be fearful anymore. Okay. Step one is you're protecting your own parental rights through the non-consent. But step two, where I said literally you only need one person, it's a 1.5 page document that we're asking you to notarize. By doing that, you've protected everyone in that school district. So, for example, our biggest school district here in Ventura County is CVUSD. It has 40,000 students. We had one parent in 1 minute protect 40,000 children. That easy.
Wow. You know, and that's a representation of nature. You know, when you're with natural law, one seed can create a forest.
Beautiful. That's exactly right. And so you can choose from both. This is the beginning of our process. We ask you to do both, but we do have people that are only interested in the non-consent. And it's really simple. All you have to do is be a taxpayer. You don't have to have a child in the system. And go ahead, and we'll show you on the next slide how easy it is for you. All you have to do, you get the whole package, but the only thing we ask you to do is to look up the name of for your district, the superintendent, the school board president, vice president, trustees. We are now including the IT director because that obviously has to do with the vaccine passports that won't be coming, and the mailing address. Once you've got that information, you just go to the actual document on the next page, and you put in all this information. You put in the date, the certified number, your name, who you're from, with the individualized names over there. The reason why we ask for a certified number is because you are serving. People say, is this a lawsuit? No, this is the due process or the color of law that you're setting up before you go to court. So, and in this instance, you won't need to go to court. But the certified number is a way of serving. You can employ servers. Here in California, we have a serving company if you need to use them. Or you can serve through a sheriff. And we'll talk more in detail there. But the certified mail is the cheapest. And you simply put the number down there. And that is proof that they have received your document.
So Mandy, this package is applicable to anyone. Would you say anyone in California, anyone in USA, or anyone worldwide? How would you frame that?
I mean, Josh, that's such a great question. So we've started training people. It's definitely anyone in California. We've got 10 different states that are trying to use this, and we've got 3 different countries that have asked to use this. The thing is, right now, it's a core group of 12 of us, and we're all working as if it's an 8-hour day. So, yeah, we just need help. So if you can't volunteer your hours, we'll show you how to look up the codes. And it's good. You know, our trainings are called Empower and Encourage. And so we do want to empower you how to do this yourself. But, you know, I mean, if you can't, if you can't afford to volunteer some time, we can always take some donations.
Excellent.
So just on the, if you just go back to 1A, the second part of that page, you've just got to sign, and there we ask you for witnesses because different states have different prerequisites, and then we ask you to get it notarized. The reason for the notary is because if you've noticed, this notice of demand is not on any kind of legal letterhead. And again, the reason is we've even got a coalition of like 11 lawyers trying to work together. None of them can put their names on this because none of them are criminal lawyers, because all the criminal lawyers. And so actually, if anyone is out there that is listening, that's a criminal lawyer that wants to work with us, attorney, district attorney, whatever, or if you know of someone, we'd love to work with them. But at this stage, as I said in the beginning, most of them are government employed and stand for the mandate. Mm-hmm. So it's that simple. One step, the notice of non-consent, you go through the exact same thing. You put in the names of everyone in your district. You put in your certified number. You sign it. You date it. You get your witnesses, and you notarize. When we do these face-to-face, and what we tell the trainers is we have a notary there, and we have a person collecting everything for the certified mail, or the server is there. And so it's a one-stop shop. You train them, they sign the documents, the co-witnesses are sitting next to you, you go get it notarized, you then walk over and you give it to the server, and it's done. One evening, we served 9 school districts.
Wow.
That was our top. And so it's super easy.
And it feels so good.
It certainly
really does. I mean, I don't want to get into the legal stuff, but let's just go over what you're telling them. You're telling them that this is criminal. This is child abuse. This is the Penal Code 273AA and 273D. It's all going to be in there. We cover everything. We call it vaccine measures. We cover everything. I love that you've enlarged that, Josh. Yeah. So look what we've covered. COVID vaccinations, passports, tests, social control methods, masking, lockdown, quarantine, surveillance, harassment, detention. I keep saying to people, if there's something I've left out, tell me, I need to add it. Forced confinement, that is happening. Coercion or any other measures so far. Now, you're going to get this as a PDF because we had one person take out one letter of our word, COVID measure, instead of COVID measures, completely sabotaged the entire thing. So we ask you kindly not to change one letter of this document. And there we go. You sign it, notarize it, and certify mail it off. And that's how easy and simple it is. And, if you want to get into the different penal codes and the titles for criminal law, Title 18, 42, 1983, and we can talk about those in the training. I do those on Thursday nights. But then we talked about once you've notarized your copy, you then make a copy for yourself because they are really trying to lose these documents. So this is the beginning of your evidence collecting, where you make a copy for yourself and you send the wet notarized signature with copies to each individual person. And people ask, well, does everything have to be notarized? We're doing this on, a dime. So officially only one needs to be notarized. But of course, if you want to notarize every individual, you can do that too. And then pop it in your certified mail package, have it certified mailed in. Otherwise, you can walk it into the district and give it to the city clerk. We love what we've got is a newsletter that comes out weekly. And instead of Where's Waldo, we've got, Where's Watchman? And we've got all the different watchmen. It's just beautiful to see people addressing the school boards, and they are addressing them they literally read out this notice of demand, and it's wonderful to see the fear of God in these people. We literally pray over these documents that the heavenly hosts deliver the fear of God to these people.
That's awesome. So, and I love that there's 4 different ways that you can deliver it. Who are you actually holding to account here? Who are you sending them to, serving?
The school board. So
like the school board, the board members and the superintendent.
Yes. And the IT director, because he will be in charge of. So we
go back to that first slide. It was in the first slide, Josh.
Okay.
I was going to bring that up. So the very powerful thing here is because we know these schools are corporations, and they can hide behind their corporate shell. But if you go, they still have these individuals you can hold them accountable personally. That's the strategy, which is what we know is the best strategy, is go after the actual living man or woman that is actually there in the position enforcing these unlawful mandates.
Mike, you're spoiling the end.
Oh,
no, I'm teasing you. No, but let's talk about that, because that's the 11th Amendment. And I want to tell you how this process has morphed, because that's not even in the presentation. So,
I keep spoiling everything. Sorry.
No, I love it. We're on the same wavelength.
This is why I stopped being a movie critic. That's too many spoilers. Sorry. Bad joke. Go ahead.
Hey, I laughed. Okay, and the 4th one is actually the most dramatic. You can get the sheriff to serve that at the board meetings directly to the individuals. And so, subscribe to our newsletter and see. We've got some fantastic mama bears and papa bears just going for it at the school boards.
And the sheriffs, there's an organization, Sheriff Mack's organization, I think it's cspoa.org, if I remember correctly. I'm a member there. And so, or I have a membership there, and there are so many sheriffs, right, that are saying, no, we're not going along with the agenda. They're not going to enforce, and something like a high percentage of sheriffs. What can you tell us there, Mandy?
Yeah, we actually it was quite funny at one of our school boards. They all go in maskless, and the very leftist, fearful, school board member said to the sheriff, "Oh, aren't you going to say something? They all are maskless. Tell them to put their masks on." And he just stood there. His gesture didn't even change. He still stood there with his arms folded. So absolutely, that's the other part of Watchmen on the Wall. We have political candidates running for office, and you have to get a constitutional sheriff to run for you guys. So that's a whole other, we won't go there. We'll keep on with the legal, but you did right, Josh.
Good.
Well, and can I say one thing about the school board? The power of going to the school board and filming it is it helps this go viral more. So when people can see the power of those videos, but also not just railing against the school board, but actually coming out with action and noticing them there, that can go viral. And then that strategy can then spread faster across when people visually see and get strength from someone else doing that. So
yeah, and because of what we're doing here is more than just an event. We're seeding something, and we're going to be continuing this conversation going forward. If you work with Mandy, if you're doing this, post it in the discussion groups. Send us an email, or get that information to us about what you're doing with this. About this is all we are the new media. We are the hands and feet, as Mandy said, we're the agents of justice and truth and righteousness on the earth. And so this is about all of us communicating that what we're doing and making it known. And so
we're the authentic fourth estate. We are the ones keeping them accountable, because we know the legacy media is, don't even get me started.
Okay, but you hit a real hard point there, is that honestly, I'm just the person that wrote these documents. I'm nothing without my team. And now the people are all flocking there. I just say to my original team, you were the guys that believed in me when no one had ever done this before. Lawyers were telling me I was insane. They stuck by me, they served, they saw. And so anyone can do this, but also, just a huge shout out to my team. I love you guys. Okay, so this public notice, I totally stole from common law practice. And like you said, this is our marketing. This is so amazing. What we do, and again, we put this in our newsletter because people get so creative. The public notice is literally it's our notice of demand that we stick up in any public place. As soon as the school district is served, they keep quiet. Like I said, out of the 20 districts, we've had one district get back to us. They exercise their Fifth Amendment right. Anything you say can and will be used against you, according to you in a court of law. So they don't want anyone to know. So most of the teachers and principals don't have a clue of what's going on. But this public notice, we've got Mama Bear sticking this up right under the vaccine requirements, And it's helping. People are being educated to say, oh, really? I have a choice. I'm a parent and I have a choice and I don't have to do this. And this is child abuse. And so these public notices are fantastic. They go up as much as we can. They often pull them down. But what we've been hearing on the ground is amazing. The teachers are coming back to us to say that the principals are reading these and are actually now teaching their teachers according to this public notice of what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do.
That's awesome. I mean, and these can also be posted in a newspaper, right? Or in a periodical of public record, like a county. Where else could you post these?
No, I mean, that's the problem. It always boils down to finances. So it's much cheaper to stick it on a school library than it is to publicize this, because this is a legal document. So it costs about $600 per notice. But yes, definitely, that's the best way to do it. That would have the furthest reach because you know that it's not getting pulled down. So the other thing that's been really exciting for us is that we're training teachers now, because people say, well, how do you know what's your success? So our success, to start off with, we said our success was to freeze the system. Now we've gotten to the stage where we actually had our first teacher that was discriminating against a fourth grader for being unvaccinated resigned. And then the principal from that school was addressed by the parent, and the principal was completely aware of this public notice and watchman on the wall. And what we found out was that school district is now going to be emailing every teacher within the school district of how they may and may not, guidelines of how they may and may not act towards the children. So that's your first win, that we really have secured the rights, parental rights, that the children are safe and not in a toxic environment. And our second step, where we're going to start training the parents now to send the kids to school without masks.
Excellent.
Anyway. So that's the public notice. You give them 14 days to respond. As I say, no one ever responds. So then we send them a notice of default. The notice of default is saying, okay, your silence means that you agree with everything that we've said. And so the next process is exactly the same. You sign it on the next page. You just simply do exactly what you've done before, get your notary to wet mark it, and you send it off to the same people in the school board. That simple. And then next page is that you still have your same process whereby you serve it either certified mail, walk it in, read it at a school board meeting. And actually what happened with us, we stopped for a few months. We just stopped at that stage because the other school district that got back actually never got back to us, but on national TV, someone came up, said they were a watchman, read what we asked them to, and then they responded, the superintendent responded by saying, our district has decided that there will be no more vaccine passports. Yeah. So that was a win for us. I mean, yes, they didn't respond back to us, but we let them save face. If they want to come across as the good guys, fine. We know the only reason they did that. I mean, we're right next to LAUSD, so we're grateful that this strategy seemed to have worked. So, like awesome. I say, now we go on the offensive. So now we go on the offensive. We wait for them to break the law. And this is where you look for any kind of Oh, I forgot to tell you that a misdemeanor or felony at this level gets you 6 years in a county jail. And the other beauty of this, which is why that teacher resigned, is because honestly, who wants to even be investigated for child abuse if you're a teacher? You can kiss your career goodbye. So it is going for the jugular. And it's easier for these teachers to resign than it is to be investigated. And this is where we've, with I think about 10 of our school districts, we're already on the cease and desist. So how do we do the cease and desist? We actually need them to break those. So the notice of demand is just warning them. We're giving them the benefit of the doubt that these are the laws and please do not break them. But with the cease and desist, we're actually looking for one of these, a vaccination without consent, the masking. So there is a law that they may not restrict airways to a child. So we had an issue where an ADHD kid pulled down his mask because he was claustrophobic, and then the teacher physically pulled it up. That's a cease and desist right there, okay? That's a misdemeanor or felony. That's a 6-year. So this is where we handhold. Once you download our package, we have a Telegram group that is only for people who have served districts. We've got 32 people there now, and we will help you. So
what's the name of the Telegram group or the link?
Well, it's private. We're only going to invite you once you've got the package and once you've served.
Okay.
So it's just, yeah.
That's great. You're crowdsourcing support. That's so smart. It's like the community, the community of people who have done it. Cause I know that's where a lot of the stress comes from. It's like, okay, I put it out there now. What, to have that support where it's like, if depending on what comes back to you, and as you say, normally nothing, but if there is some lawyer all of a sudden that they send back at you with some kind of answer that now you're put in the defensive, you have a way for a community to support you to make sure that you have the proper recompense. I always say that word wrong, but the right remedy in response. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So then you send a cease and desist, and normally that's why we have to hold your hand, because we've got a template here, but we do end up having to change it based on what what has happened to the child, unfortunately. And that just gets, but again, as you see, if you see some of these codes, Title 42, Title 18, we've got the Nuremberg Code. So do you see why we're not bar attorneys? Because we're throwing in international law, we're throwing in California Education Code. We're just doing the whole gamut here, which bar certified attorneys can't do.
And these, like California Education, Penal Code, Government Code, all this stuff can be customized depending on what state or even in what country, if it's outside of the United States, right?
Exactly. So we're ready to work with you guys. However, we just want to protect these children. We want to protect your children. We want to protect the children whose parents are oblivious to this. So again, you'll put in the school district name, sign it, notarize it, get your witnesses, and then send a copy off again. So it gets really, really easy. At some stage, we're hoping that, at the back end, we can almost have the names pretty much like that one-click politics. If we could almost do something the same with a map, that you'd click on the map and the names would pop up. But right now we're fighting the war. So we leave that up to you.
Well, if you're watching this and you have those skills, you know who to contact, and you got our website. Let's go, guys.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. And there's the process all over again, your 4 ways of certifying it and serving it. Yeah. And so again, like I say, nobody ever gets back to you. You put them back in default. And that's pretty much the end of the first session. We've gotten to that stage. And then if I could share with you where we're at from there, which has really just been a development that's happened over the past week, is that we've decided, okay, this is definitely working. As I said, when this mom got in touch with us about the teacher resigning, for 4 days, I waited. We made sure that we had served them a cease and desist, and that the principal had received it. We did our due diligence before we said, okay, this person's resigned because of what we've done. So after that, we then decided, okay, let's get on the offensive. So again, if you're listening and you want to send your child to school without a mask, every Thursday we do trainings. We also do trainings of how other people can train other people, because I'm not the one that needs to. I really don't need to be the face of this. In actual fact, I'm happier to be behind the scenes looking at for all the loopholes in the law. But what's happened was we got to the end of the process, and my one friend said, hey, this mom's gotten to, her name's Monica, she's at the end of the process, what does she do next? And I was like, well, I know, theoretically, I know we can do a claim, we can do a lawsuit, or we can do a grand jury. And I, sent off the email, and I just shot up a prayer like, Lord, where do we go? I mean, you guys know as leaders, when you're the tip of the spear, you don't know where do you go next, kind of thing. And I went over to Telegram, and another Monica had sent me the first reply that we got from these school districts. And the reply was, obviously some rookie lawyer had misread the notice of demand, and they had said, the claim that you submitted cannot be filed because of point A, B, and C. And here are the government codes 910.2, 910.4, 6, 8 that you need to address. And I just started laughing. I'm like, okay, God wants us to do a claim. And actually, the beauty of the claim is that these are pure-hearted parents just wanting to protect children. And what do we see? I mean, he's actually blessing us now with financial gain, because a lawsuit would cost a few $100,000. And now we can crack the system. I really want to put that out there, guys, is that now it's time for us to start not only getting on the offensive and sending our children back, but the way we're going to crack the system. There's so much corruption that we can start putting in claims. We've also started with the community colleges and the community college students. We've gone on aggravated assault, discrimination, and harassment. But again, the criminal code there is aggravated assault, and they can go to jail for a year. And it's overflown into the universities. And we can use this strategy. So the reason I'm training the trainers is because I'm saying this strategy doesn't only have to be for just for the masks and the COVID. This can be used for CRT. This can be used for sex education. This can be used for anything. So once you know the process, let's just start using it for whatever we can. And for the college students, the discrimination has been ridiculous. But there is a code when you're dealing with EUAs. If they are not given the informed consent, they can claim $25,000 per person. And so, for a student who's on a loan, I keep saying, come on, they are bragging that 90% of them are vaccinated. And I get really sad stories about their immediate reactions afterwards. So let's at least get them $25,000. Anyway, and there's the complaints, the claims, but there's also criminal complaints that you can log. And then the kicker, where I was saying to you, Mike, you're getting ahead of the, before I just wrap this whole thing up, is that this is just genius. You won't even believe it. But when they get sworn into office, when they take their oath of office, they get bonded. It depends on what state they're in. They either get bonded or they take out insurance. Now, there's the 11th Amendment that they all hide behind because they have personal immunity. But guess what? When they have insurance and they have damaged your property, you can claim on their insurance, on their personal insurance, and they will not be able to be reinsured. So this is our final step in the process. So, right now we're just on claims. We just submitted claims, but we're going to be, that's going to be the final, is the criminal complaints and the financial gain.
Do you have remedy resources for claims too, or is it just notices right now?
Yes, we submitted our first claim last week, so it's all new. But this is the way we're going for sure.
Isn't it amazing how you're praying for guidance, and then literally your quote adversary, who is communicating back to you, gave you what you need to do. I mean, it's like when that's the thing is when you're truly in service to the all. Right, these challenges and these challenge agents that are coming at us, they're bound to serve us. Yeah.
I mean,
not that like it's about us or anything like that. It's about the serving the all, but they will, you know what I'm trying to say, right?
No, and I have this issue with people that come to me and go, oh, well, it's the end of the world. I say, I'm sorry, right now we're living through World War III. Do you think people in World War I and World War II didn't think it was the end of the world? So yeah, go and sit in your corner and feel bad, or come and fight with us and be on the right side of history. And you did right. I mean, look at how history has, every time there's that crescendo, I mean, the good guys win. So get on the good guys' side. How do you want to be remembered in the history books? This is the time.
Yeah. I want to share a couple of quick things in the last 2 or 3 minutes that we have here, Mandy. And you were the one who first told me maybe about a year ago that you discovered that the amount of COVID money that your county was receiving was something like $400 million. And then we had in the trailer, yeah, in the trailer of the event, we had a clip where a woman in Illinois found the paperwork and she did her due diligence, and she said, "You're getting this school board and your small Illinois school board is getting $5 million just to mask the kids, and they don't get the money unless they follow the agenda." This is absolutely key, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is what I'm so excited. I feel like we've done the groundwork. So in the beginning, when we didn't know what we were doing, we were giving them time to come back to us. They never got back to us. Learn from us. Like when you join now, we can get you through this process. You can tie their hands all the way past the cease and desist in 2 months. And then come do claims with us. This is where I want to go. I want to bankrupt the system, and not only bankrupt them, I wanted to hit their pocketbooks because they hide behind their personal immunity. Well, no, that's not what an oath of office is about. The government is supposed to serve us. And this is where we need to start getting people, just like that teacher resigned. If they corrupt, they should not be serving in office. That's simple.
And you shared with me and Mike yesterday or the day before a recording that you sent out to your church, to your group, and then you forwarded it to us, and I teared up. I mean, when you're describing the vision and I'm feeling the emotion on it right now. Could you share with us, just in closing, Mandy, that aspect of this?
Yeah, I just don't want to mess it up, and I believe there are courts in heaven. Our forefathers were the most brilliant men. They were half our age, and they knew what they were doing, not because they were 25 and brilliant, because they knew how to operate spiritually. I still talk about the Delaware. Are you telling me that clouds that came across was just a cloud that seemed to be there, kind of like the Red Sea? And then they try and, anyway, my whole thing here is the heavenly strategies have been downloaded to us, and we have done 1 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, and we are serious, we humble ourselves, we pray, we fast, he will reign on our land, and he is reigning on our land. And I'm just so excited. I mean, people are in fear, and people are fighting. The spirit of resistance and fear is over. We have the victory, and we'd love you to join us. We have seen this from the heavenlies, and it is time. It is time. If there's something when we're talking now, like Mike and Josh and I are saying, we feel it, we do feel it. And we're praying that you guys feel it too. And we say, welcome to the tribe. We call you up to the mountain. Come and do this. This is a wild ride. And we're excited to do it with you. Like I said, these two are the tip of the spear. They've, when you go wakeboarding, you've done, it's easy to ride the wake once you've done that for us. So, just come join us. And most importantly, protect your children. It's not hard. We're not asking you to fight a war, pick up a gun. We're asking you I'm not even asking you to read the 1.5-page document. I'm asking you to notarize it. And what are we asking? I mean, what if you had to go to a lawyer, they'd ask you for $3,000 per letter. We're giving you a package of 5 letters there. You probably won't even get past 4. And who knows, if you want, you can start claiming with us and help us bankrupt the system. So yes, the system, the foundation is cracking. We found that crack, and we just need those people to get over your fear, get over your resistance, realize you're a leader, join us, and bring in the new system, bring in the new politicians who are people like us who are ready to serve.
Yeah.
Amen.
And Mandy, you, the wave, the tidal wave, the tsunami that's coming are the people. That was what was so moving. What you shared with me and Mike is like the wave is the people, is all of us watching, is the tens of thousands that I see like coming to, you know, organizations and churches and leaders and groups like what you're doing, and just claiming, just noticing, just standing in the gap and choosing. It's like choosing the divine reality, the soulful reality, the truth, the light, the way, whatever you want to call it, over this just corruption, and actually like putting a stake in the sand, right? Like making a claim.
Yeah, I love that, making a claim. And I wasn't going to go into the detail of the vision, but at the bottom of the cross, we saw the pyramid scheme with the 3 dots. And when you go up a pyramid to the pyramid scheme to be the CEO or whatever, you have to walk. Whereas when you look at the cross, it's the opposite. The government is on his shoulders. The 3, from left to right, to at the foundation, at the mercy seat, at the judgment seat that's coming. That is the way it's supposed to be. And, the legal, political, that's where the training is happening. And to get to the pinnacle of success at the bottom is what? Just to accept Yeshua HaMashiach as your Lord and Savior. Is that so hard? But Satan is the ultimate counterfeit. He flips that upside down, gives us a pyramid, enslaves us to the system, makes us work as hard as we can so that one person can reach the top. No, that's the exact opposite of what we're doing here. It's the tidal wave of people, and they're waking up. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be a part of this movement. So thank you for opening it up to us.
Thank you, Mandy. Mike, any final thoughts as we wrap up here? What an amazing hour this has been.
Yeah, I hope all you guys watching this and taking part in the summit can be empowered to take action, because this can spread across the country and the world quite rapidly. It's a very fast process. And as Mandy says, they've had this dam up holding us back forever, and now that dam's cracking, and already we're seeing the water starting to come through, and as this wave pounds against that dam, it's going to burst, and we're going to flow into abundance and happiness. And this has been a gift. I think nature has given us this because of the corruption always ends up crystallizing and failing and fracturing and exploding, and we get to be here for one of the greatest kind of awakenings that humanity has seen in a long time. So wonderful, Mandy. This is going to be a great,
much, guys. We appreciate it.
Great tool in the tool chest for us. So wonderful. Yeah.
So get that. Yeah. As you said, go to watchman33.org. We'd love a donation of $100, whatever you can afford, time, whatever you can afford, and just get it going. And we will hold your hand through the whole process. Protect the children. Get your parental rights back.
Awesome. Mandy, thank you so much for all you're doing for your team. And if you're watching this, follow that intuition, that inspiration, and take that next step. And you with this, go for it.
And you can leave comments below or in the chat, and maybe Mandy and your team members and can be in there too, and assisting people, onboarding them to your site. Yes. That's the beautiful thing about this summit is interactive. Even though this is a pre-recorded one, we do have the comments in the chat. So please feel free to be engaged there, and we can help you guys kind of get in the right channel, in the right direction to get action.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us for this powerful hour. Thank you again, Mandy. Thank you, Mike. And we'll see you guys soon.